If you aren't already in my Discord server, what are you doing? It's got some of the best alpha in all of crypto inside, full of people of all experiences, old, young, and everything in between. And the best part, it's completely free. I've mentioned Bittensor many times on this channel since I created it, but it was always a brief explanation. It's one of the more complicated projects to understand in crypto, and to be honest, I think we all still don't fully grasp the potential this has. So I'm going to break it down as simply as I can today. This video took a lot of work, so please subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed. So kicking off with the basics, Bittensor at its simplest form is a decentralized platform that allows anyone to contribute to and benefit from AI advancements, combining artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency. The native token for this ecosystem is TAO, used for transactions and incentivizing participants to the Bittensor network, a currency for rewarding contributions. I'll use a few metaphors here and there to help simplify the project. Think of Bittensor as a digital marketplace for intelligence, where vendors offer their products to a global audience. It was founded by Jacob Steves and Ala Shabana, two massive brains with plenty of experience in machine learning, artificial intelligence, computer science, and more. So at the center of Bittensor's system is the concept of subnets. These are specialized networks within Bittensor which handle different tasks, such as machine learning, data storage, computational power, and more. Currently there are around 50 subnets, although this number will most likely increase in the future. Each subnet can innovate independently whilst contributing to the overarching ecosystem. Think different departments within a big organization, for example, HR department, marketing, finance, sales, and so on. Anyone can run a subnet, however, it does require a certain amount of technical knowledge, computational resources, and at this particular point, it's also pretty expensive. Right now, it costs 2,060 TAO to register one, and at current prices, that's over $1.1 million. The number of subnets could well increase in the future too, getting to around 100, 200, or however many as the network expands. This causes the cost of registration to rise too, with price reflecting demand. Additionally, this in turn locks the supply of TAO needed to set up the subnet, reducing the circulating supply and somewhat reducing the impact of inflation, which we'll cover shortly. The efficiency of each subnet hinges on resource allocation, how well resources like compute, bandwidth, and data are distributed. Miners who contribute these resources join subnets based on their ability to meet those demands. The incentive comes from TAO. The more valuable and resource hungry the subnet, the higher the TAO payout, encouraging competition. Like a free market, the resource allocation is governed by competition and efficiency. Miners are drawn to the subnets where they can earn the most, whilst inefficient subnets, or using resources poorly, attract fewer miners, leading to lower performance. Inefficient subnets can lead to harming the overall ecosystem by higher costs, network instability, and reduced innovation. If a subnet performs poorly enough, it can be deregistered. Gonna have to get a little technical here, unfortunately, to explain the consensus mechanism used within Bittensor. It's a hybrid model combining both proof of work and proof of stake. Proof of work encourages contribution through cooperation. Similar to Bitcoin, nodes or miners perform AI computations, solving cryptographic puzzles to validate their contribution, and once solved, it submits the results to the network for verification. The compute power required to solve the puzzle acts as proof that the miner has put in the necessary effort. Proof of work ensures that miners are actively contributing, prevents free riders, and discourages spam or malicious actors. On the flip side, proof of stake encourages long-term commitment and security. Participants are required to stake TAO. The more TAO staked, the more influence it has in network decisions or validating AI tasks. Stakeholders or validators check the work performed by proof of work miners to ensure it is valid. Consequently, proof of stake encourages responsible participation with staked TAO, ensures those with a long-term interest in the network are rewarded for contributing to its security and scalability. This also combats centralization, making it more difficult for a single entity to control the whole network. Without me waffling too much, I'll just leave some of my notes on screen for you to read yourself if you are interested. So going back to the previous idea of inefficiency, Bittensor has introduced the concept of dynamic TAO, allowing the network to adjust token incentives and resource allocation in real time based on performance and contributions. This prevents resource wastage, encourages fair distribution, and optimizes network efficiency. Dynamic TAO in itself is a whole topic of conversation, but remember this video is to explain Bittensor relatively simply, so we'll stick to the basics. This is best explained with an example. Let's say there are two subnets in Bittensor. Subnet A focuses on running simple AI models that don't require too much compute, and subnet B is running highly complex models that need significant resources. At a certain point, the demand for complex AI spikes. More users are sending tasks to subnet B, requiring far more computing power than usual. Dynamic TAO adjusts in real time. TAO rewards in subnet B increase to attract miners who can provide the necessary resources to handle this increased demand. Meanwhile, TAO rewards in Subnet A decrease because the simpler tasks no longer require as many resources and fewer miners are needed there. As miners respond to the market signals, more computational resources flow to Subnet B, helping meet the spike in demand efficiently. When the demand levels off again, the TAO rewards rebalance and miners shift their resources back where they are needed the most. Linked to this whole concept is the Yuma Consensus. This is the mechanism that ensures all nodes in Bittensor agree on the state of the network and validates transactions without a central authority. It will make sure the right balance of resources or compute is sent to the subnets where it's needed most. Also, it ensures no single entity can control the entire network, maintaining fairness and decentralization. Like a ref in football, ensuring the players follow the same rules and agree on the score, crucial for maintaining trust and fairness. The tokenomics of Bittensor strikes a very strong resemblance with Bitcoin, a maximum supply of 21 million with around 36% in circulation currently. It follows a very similar halving type emission schedule to Bitcoin, where the miner rewards get halved at certain dates, the first one being in November 2025, then 2029, all the way up until 2069. One thing to note in regards to the supply is there will be roughly a 50% dilution in supply from now compared to in 12 months' time. Not the worst, and obviously it will decrease over time, but just something to be wary of. If you are holding TAO, you should consider staking if you aren't already. Current APY is between 14 to 18%, compounded daily, unlock whenever, and there's no lockup period. Kept safely within your Polkadot wallet, Bittensor wallet, whichever. A nice source of passive income, and currently 78% of circulating TAO is staked. So we've got some of the technicalities out the way for Bittensor. I know it will bore a lot of people. A project being highly complex and technical doesn't always guarantee its success. That's not the reason why I believe it's the best AI project out there. The reason is because of how revolutionary this can be on a real world level. It's revolutionary because it decentralizes the infrastructure required for AI, very similar to how Bitcoin decentralized finance. By distributing power and control of AI development across a global network of participants, rather than centralizing it in large corporations or government bodies, Bittensor enables more open, democratic access to AI innovation. I'll call this section Bittensor's Revolution so we can better visualize how this improves on incumbent market concerns. So to begin with decentralization of AI power, the world's leading AI advancements are coming from centralized organizations like OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft. These companies control vast amounts of computational resources, data, AI models, making it difficult for smaller players, universities, or any independent bodies to contribute meaningfully to AI development. This concentration into the hands of a few leads to potential biases in AI, forcing agendas of those who control them, and also monopolization of AI resources. The massive data/resources leads to significant competitive advantage where only a few can access latest AI developments. An example of this being ChatGPT, which requires millions of dollars in resources and data to train. Only large entities can develop powerful systems, meaning smaller research labs, startups, or individual developers simply cannot compete. Bittensor comes in and levels the playing field by allowing anyone with compute to contribute. Instead of a few centralized, it's got many decentralized from nodes all around the world. Very similar to how Bitcoin decentralized financial transactions. Next, we've got open access to AI development and ownership. Traditionally speaking, only the entity which owns the infrastructure or data reaps the benefits of AI breakthroughs. An example being Tesla, which invests heavily in autonomous driving tech and holds exclusive rights over the AI models and data. Whilst this is groundbreaking technology, it's confined to Tesla's ecosystem. Bittensor allows participants to not only contribute to the network, but also own a part of it through TAO. Keeping it contextual, imagine a future where thousands of contributors train autonomous vehicle models across a decentralized network, all contributing unique data from various locations. Rewarded in TAO, and the tech becomes a collective good, not owned by a single entity, encouraging global collaboration. Moving on to more efficient use of compute, AI development is extremely resource intensive. Training large language models requires huge amounts of compute and electricity, leading to inefficiencies, especially when they're concentrated in data centers that are expensive to maintain and prone to bottlenecks. An example of this is Google's data centers, housing massive servers. Whilst efficient in scale, they're very energy intensive and vulnerable to central points of failure like power outages or security breaches. Bittensor's revolution here is using a distributed network of nodes across a massive decentralized network. The compute can effectively be pulled together to create a global supercomputer without the need for data centers. AI as a global utility model also improves efficiency and reduces bottlenecks. Finally, we got robustness or resilience. Decentralization equals censorship resistant and more resilient to attacks. Centralized models are susceptible to hacking, censorship, and control. Examples would be countries or regimes where internet censorship is prevalent, like China's Great Firewall. Their AI can be controlled or censored by the government. And not just China, entities such as OpenAI or xAI are all susceptible to levels of control, if not already. Bittensor's models and data exist on a decentralized network of nodes globally. This ensures security and it's nearly impossible for a single entity to take control. The Yuma Consensus also ensures AI tasks are verified and distributed fairly, making it resistant to malicious attackers. Apologies if that was a lot of waffle, guys. Here's a quick summary. If you've been around, you know that I never shill. My analysis is always aimed to be objective. I don't tell you to buy coins, just to help provide perspective of where to look. No project is perfect, and Bittensor comes with its own flaws, beginning with some technical challenges such as network latency or performance. The performance could be impacted by latency, especially as data or compute is distributed across geo-distant nodes. This can lead to slowing down of training AI models and the network in general, making it less competitive to centralized systems like OpenAI. Bittensor would need to find a solution to minimize latency and ensure efficient communication. The Yuma Consensus could also face scalability issues as the network grows. More nodes, higher costs, larger processing times, etc. If consensus becomes too costly or slow, it could discourage participation from smaller nodes, leading to a degree of centralization as larger, wealthier participants dominate. The solution would be to optimize the Yuma Consensus for larger networks or to introduce a layer 2 scaling solution for better scalability. Of course, whilst the tokenomics are pretty solid, inflationary pressures will always be around, leading to a potential devaluation of TAO, reducing incentive for participants to join. The solution would be a deflationary mechanism or cap, or even more use cases for TAO to drive demand and absorb inflationary pressures. The concentration of power in large nodes due to them having greater compute resources, therefore gaining more rewards, this could result in centralization, undermining the whole decentralization open source idea. The solution could be to weight smaller nodes or provide additional rewards for smaller contributors. There are potential governance challenges as well. Due to decentralization, they could struggle when it comes to decision making, disagreements on protocols or tokenomics or whatever. This can lead to fragmentation or conflict, therefore a DAO may need to be introduced. Arguably the biggest drawback facing Bittensor is the real-world adoption challenge. Complexity, combining AI with crypto, with blockchain, with decentralization, can be difficult for average users to wrap their heads around. We see people in real life struggling with OpenAI as it is. These high barriers to entry could limit participation, making it harder to achieve mass adoption. This could have a more natural solution. As AI and crypto become more normal and understood by the real world, naturally Bittensor will benefit from this. But then there's also the problem of competing with centralized giants. Competing with Google, Microsoft, etc. is always going to be tricky. David versus Goliath when it comes to compute, data, market positioning. Naturally, it could struggle to compete. However, the solution is inside what makes TAO stand out in the first place. Decentralization, censorship resistant, privacy focused. And finally, we got legal or regulatory concerns. This one goes without saying. We know governments around the world have an issue with decentralization, with crypto, with censorship resistance. Look how long it took for Bitcoin to make noise, and even then, the stigma around it is still relatively negative. The majority of governments need control, and the idea of a decentralized AI ecosystem could cause many problems for them. This is the biggest issue I think Bittensor faces, being slapped with hurdles along the way. The solution to this is a focus on compliance, but also is out of Bittensor's hands to some extent. Something interesting to quickly point out, TAO was included in Grayscale's AI fund a few months back, although it was given the lowest weighting out of 5 projects. As of today, it is now the highest weighted coin in their portfolio. So TAO has exploded in recent weeks, but if you've been subscribed to me, you'll know that I've been mentioning this below $200, $300, $400, etc. My first entry for TAO was around here between $40 to $50, but unfortunately I didn't have a YouTube channel at that point, or this video would have come a lot sooner. I actually faded TAO initially when you could only purchase it over the counter at around $20. Information was very scarce and I didn't really understand the white paper. I could have done with a video like this, but oh well, no point looking back now. Since then, the price for TAO has been very interesting. The rally around 12 months ago from $50 all the way up to $300 was quite intense. We cooled off for a little bit, then earlier this year we really exploded, shooting past $700. Subsequently, due to market conditions, we then went on a massive cooling phase, dropping as low as I believe $160. TAO didn't show the best strength in these months and sentiment around the project was quite low. There was an attack on the network in early July which was neutralized in less than 40 minutes. The attack was not significant on the project itself, it didn't really affect any code, but it did cause a lot of FUD. The price today for TAO at $632 gives it a market cap of 4.6 billion and a fully diluted market cap of just over 13 billion. It's on every top exchange bar Coinbase, but honestly that's just a matter of time. I heard the reason it's taking so long is because these exchanges have had to purchase their supply on the open market. They don't just get given a number of tokens like most projects. So soon I'm sure TAO will be available for anyone and everyone in crypto to purchase. Let's take a look at the previous cycle. I know past performance isn't indicative of future returns, and this cycle may well be different. Coins may not reach astronomical valuations like before due to increased number of projects diluting the concentration. Macroeconomically we may be worse off, there's many factors. However, this is just speculation. Ethereum hit $500 billion. Solana hit 75 billion, ADA hit 67 billion, Ripple 57, DOT 51, Doge at its peak hit $70 billion. You cannot convince me any of these projects are better than what Bittensor is trying to be from a technical, fundamental, tokenomic or real world level. We know AI is the future. We know it's going to be worth over $1 trillion in only a few years. 2030 is closer than you think. We've seen that OpenAI is worth $150 billion currently. Bittensor is a drop in the ocean compared to all of these at $4 billion. It's so hard to form a prediction because, like I alluded to at the start, I don't think we fully understand the potential of this project. We're very early to both this coin but also AI in the world. It's an exciting time for sure with lots of money to be made. In the future, would anyone genuinely be surprised if Bittensor reached top 10, top 5? I wouldn't be, and after watching this video, I don't think you would be either. Unfortunately, having been in this space for over 5 years, crypto doesn't always make sense. Whilst on paper the argument is compelling, not without its risks, but compelling nonetheless, it doesn't always pan out that way. A realistic conservative prediction for myself for Bittensor this cycle would be a price range of $2,000 to $2,500, possibly up to $3,000. This would give it a market cap of 15 to 18.5 billion. Like I said, this is a conservative, realistic prediction, still providing decent returns from this price level, although given its recent pump, I wouldn't recommend buying now unless you have significant capital. I'm not going to lie to you guys and say if you only have a few $100 or $1,000 or whatever, that TAO is going to change your life. It most likely won't. At this stage in the cycle, you're going to have to take more risk and look elsewhere if you wish to catch those 20, 50, 100x's. But should you make profit, this is a very viable option to park your profits and compound them further. For further speculation, bull case, and possibly over the longer term too, this can reach between 5 to 10k, maybe even more. And again, those who understand crypto shouldn't be surprised. This absolutely is a project capable of reaching tens of billions in valuation, possibly touching 100 billion and going further. Who knows? It definitely isn't impossible. If it's to be the leading AI coin in the sector, that's absolutely not out of the equation. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please leave your TAO price prediction in the comments. I'm curious to see. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and also feel free to join the Discord. I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.